No amount of reading books, listening to podcasts, or even study can prepare you for the experience of being a new mom. But especially if you identify as an HSP, there are a few things that you should know. Babies are born with a clear disposition. They're not some kind of category that if you can train in a certain way, they're going to turn out a certain way. They are born with a strong personality and a strong set of traits. One of these might be highly sensitive. But sensitive or not, know that most babies do not sleep. Research shows that up to 50% of babies cannot anywhere close sleep through the night at the age of 12 months. So why should yours? Instead of killing yourself trying to get your baby to sleep and doing all kinds of things, and God forbid sleep training, I have some suggestions for how you can find joy in yourself and your baby, even if one or both of you is in fact highly sensitive. Tip number one is lower your expectations. Lower your expectations very, very low. Your baby is a highly immature creature. Unlike other mammals, your baby is born being absolutely incapable of taking care of themselves. And you know what? Our brains only properly mature when we're 25 years old. So it is going to be many, many years that your child is completely dependent upon you for their survival, including their emotional regulation. Unless there's something very wrong, your baby is going to go from a little being that cannot even scratch their own nose to a little being that can walk by themselves unaided within 18 months. And that is something miraculous and incredible. Your baby is going to go through sleep regressions and growth spurts and teething and all kinds of things in the first 12 months of their life. And there are huge adjustments for you also. So whether or not you have other children, it's going to be a huge adjustment for you and for everybody in your home. So why set yourself up to be a supermom? Why set yourself up to get everything perfect? Why have these high standards of yourself and your baby? Stop expecting your baby to eat on perfect schedule, to sleep according to that range of how many hours they're supposed to sleep in a day. They don't. And be some kind of cookie cutter perfect baby. It's just going to stress you out. Some days you will not get dressed. Some days you will get zero sleep and yet somehow function. Not very well, but somehow. And that is completely normal. My name is Karen. I'm an experienced clinical psychologist and coach. And over the years, I've had a lot of moms come to me. Usually by the time they come to me, they're utterly exhausted and depleted, and that is not what I want for you. Expect that it is going to be hard and you are going to be tired, but it's going to get better and you are going to cope. But start by lowering your expectations. Tip number 2, sleep when your baby sleeps. Now, I know that this is an overstated piece of advice that is absolutely everywhere, but nobody listens to it. Clients will tell me that their baby has woken them up every hour of the night and that they're really battling with utter exhaustion. But when I suggest that they go to sleep when their baby goes to sleep, they say that they can't. The only time that they have for themselves is after the baby goes to sleep. The problem is that taking time for yourself to watch Netflix or do grocery shopping or even eat dinner with your partner is time that you could be sleeping. And sleep is foundational. It is the most important thing. Your baby sleeps for the longest uninterrupted block after their last feed. So if you put your baby down at 7, which seems to be the kind of standard, then your baby will sleep solidly more or less until about 11. But 11 o'clock is generally when most of you are going to sleep. So it makes no sense. That 4 hours is like the most valuable 4 hours of sleep that you could be getting. Either go down to sleep at 7 with your baby, or put your baby down later and go to sleep with your baby at a later time. Because for you, as a new mom, getting 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep is like heaven. And you should take those opportunities whenever they present themselves. It's only for the first year or so of your baby's life, and it may not even be that long. Could be longer, but it may not. And for that period, prioritize your sleep. It is essential to your well-being. Other things to try involve just staying in bed for longer, taking naps. Even if you cannot nap, just lie in bed with your eyes closed, because that totally counts. And just generally catching some sleep whenever you possibly can. Tip number 3 is carry your baby on your body and use an exercise ball as backup. Carrying your baby on your body is really, really good for your baby, because being close to you, smelling your familiar smell, hearing your familiar voice, feeling your heartbeat is very calming and soothing to your baby. And carrying a baby on your body leaves your hands free so that you can actually do something. If your baby is highly sensitive, then keeping your baby close to you physically will help to regulate them. But even if your baby isn't highly sensitive, co-regulation is essential for babies, because they are in many ways born too soon, and they're just not ready to leave our bodies and to function on their own. Keeping them close co-regulates their nervous system, calms them down and settles them, and you can keep them calm and happy for much longer periods than if you keep putting them down. The exercise ball is to bounce on when you are just too tired of carrying your baby for whatever reason. Walking around clutching a baby and swaying from side to side is not the best, and it's extremely draining and exhausting, and it hurts your back and your neck and your shoulders. Bouncing on an exercise ball is like a lifesaver. Travel with an exercise ball, or buy one when you get to your destination, because bouncing on an exercise ball actually strengthens your core, and it's very soothing for your baby. Tip number 4, do not compare yourself to other mothers, and do not compare your baby to other babies. Now, the thing is that everybody does, right? Especially with social media, but fight it. When you find yourself comparing, then remind yourself that every baby develops at their own pace, and every mom is an individual. And what you see on social media may not reflect reality, not at all. Your baby is an individual, and so are you. Groups of people will tell you that the correct thing to do is breastfeed, for example. But maybe you can't breastfeed. Maybe you don't want to breastfeed. That is okay. Millions of babies have grown up on formula, and they're completely fine. But if breastfeeding is really important to you, then reach out to a lactation consultant rather than your local Facebook group. It's okay if your baby is bigger or smaller than average. It's okay if they walk earlier or later, or whatever the case might be. Babies develop at their own pace. So don't get excited and start thinking that your baby is advanced because they reach their developmental milestones early. And don't get upset if your baby is late, or think your baby is slow if they reach their developmental milestones later. There is a very wide range of normal, a very wide range, and they all tend to even out later. Unless your pediatrician thinks there's a problem. Focus on your own life, your own baby, your own progress, and enjoy it for the journey and the wonderful adventure that it is. Tip number 5 is reach out. Reach out for help. If your partner is supportive, then lean on your partner. If your partner is not supportive, then lean on whatever family members and friends that you can. Again, this is not going to last forever. In fact, babyhood and toddlerhood are over in a heartbeat. It's so fast. And you're not going to be asking people to help you forever. Reach out and get all the help that you can muster. If you can afford help, then now is the time to invest in yourself and your well-being and hire help, whether it's a night nurse or a nanny or whatever the case might be. Then go for it. Get all the help that you can. Taking just 1 or 2 hours for yourself can make a huge difference to your mental health and your physical health. So please do not feel guilty. Reach out for help and take time for yourself.